Hello, this morning I am joined by the lovely Georgina Campbell. She is the star of the upcoming Saban Films Wildcat. Thank you for joining me, Georgina. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Uh, I was very excited to get to talk to you, and I was lucky enough actually to talk to your director, Jonathan, and then also with Luke earlier this week. And so now it's culminated to a conversation with you, the lead, the star, and you bring so much to the film. But before we get into that, why don't you give us a little what audiences can expect from Wildcat?
Wildcat is a thriller. It'll have you on the edge of your seat. It's about a reporter who gets kidnapped by some militants in the Middle East, and she has to figure out how to escape. And you sort of go on this journey with her where you're also, as they are, finding out who she is, why she's there, and yeah, what she's doing. And you kind of go on this very exciting journey with her.
Well, what a character. We see her go through a roller coaster of emotions, also a roller coaster of change and attitude as far as I'm not going to be the victim and I'm going to take control of the situation. And in talking with Jonathan and also reading up on the film, I learned about a couple of real life inspirations. My question is, how did you prepare for this role?
I read a lot actually. I read Amanda Lind, who has a really amazing book about she was kidnapped in the Middle East, and Judith Tebbett. She also has a book about being kidnapped. I found like all these different. I basically went on Amazon and found as many books as I could about real life experiences of being kidnapped, and read up on James Foley and watched a documentary about him, and just really kind of wanted to understand the mental impact and how all these stories are amazing. um, Apart from obviously James Foley, the other stories that I'd read were about people who had survived and had been through this experience and come out of it. So it was really kind of amazing to see how they survived and how they got through their situation.
Probably one of the impressive things about the film is that it's all filmed in one room. It's in one location. Was that any added pressure for you, or did you enjoy kind of playing that almost like a theater feel as far as a role?
Yeah, it was really exciting. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to do it actually, because it's all about the acting, it's all about the dialogue. There is, you're just in that one room, so it was really exciting. And like you said, it was like being in a play because we were doing these really long sequences, really long scenes, which you don't usually get the opportunity of doing in films or television. It's usually quite snappy and fast paced, and you're moving from locations. So it was something to really sink our teeth into as actors. It was great.
You had some really intense scenes, and I learned that this was filmed in linear, so you had the opportunity kind of to go on that journey with your character. Um, what was it like leaving offset afterwards? Did you need to decompress? Because it seems like there was a lot of intense moments throughout the day that you probably had to film.
Yeah, it was really difficult. It was a really tough, it was an amazing experience, and everyone was lovely and very kind, but it was very hard. And I was working in America, and it was the first time I'd worked in America. So I was quite isolated. I couldn't really go out because I couldn't get a tan or anything because everything we were filming was inside. So she needed to always look the same and not suddenly have like a killer tan and look amazing. So it was quite isolating experience. And going off set, I wasn't home. I couldn't see friends or family, and there was the big time difference. So, by the time I was getting out of set, people at home are asleep. So it was quite a lonely period of time, but it added to the atmosphere of the film. I think it kind of all worked together to create this feeling. Um, yeah, it was intense.
That's kind of a different experience than what I got from Luke. He said, "Yeah, I got to go home." Wow,
Very different.
but yeah, but it did add to your obviously to the experience because it's that seclusion, that the being alone is something your character goes to. I think one of my favorite parts of the film is your interaction with Mito Hamada's Abu Khalid. Such great conversations. You guys learn so much about each other. you tell about working with him and maybe what you guys did off screen to really get that chemistry going?
Yeah, he was wonderful. I think it just clicked, you know, the first day that we got in and did that scene together, where he first comes into the room, the kind of cell, was so exciting because he's so engaging, and there's just so much which is also due to the writing of like power dynamics and power play and who has what information. And you know, a scene will be going a certain way and you think Mido's in control of it, or Abu Khalid, and then suddenly Khadijah suddenly is in control of the scene. It was really enjoyable. He was great to work with, and he's such a pro. He's been, you know, working for a really long time. He has a great career, so it was just exciting to be able to share that space with him and watch him work.
Kind of bouncing off of that, you want to talk a little, comment a little about Jonathan's vision? I mean, your character is never really the damsel in distress. She's just in a very difficult circumstance. I also feel that like Abu Khalid's character, he's not. He is a victim of events which has led him there. It's not necessarily your traditional, I would say, extremist or terrorist or you know, however it's usually labeled. But I think Jonathan does such a fantastic job at humanizing all the characters, including even your torturer.
Yeah, no, he does. He's an amazing writer, and he's very um, collaborative. And when I joined onto the project, I mean, we did read throughs constantly. You know, because he was editing and changing the script, and I joined about, I think, about 5 months before we started filming. So we had a while to kind of go over things and really figure out the character. And yeah, it was fantastic. And he has a friend who she sort of is similar to the role of Khadijah. And you know, I went and spoke to her, and she was very much a part of the process and bringing her experience into it. So I think he was very clever and very open to listening to people and figuring out the characters as well as we could.
Can you comment a little bit also on your torturer? Because one thing I really liked is he got a phone call from his wife, and it's like, wait, it's just a regular guy, and he just has to come do a job, and he seems like he comes in, does his job. Which, by the way, if there's anything I hate more in horror films or in thrillers or anything to do with nails, just crawls up my
Yeah.
skin. And man, just that finger alone had produced so much power for them.
Yeah, no, yeah, he was brilliant. And that you're right, that sequence with the phone calls kind of almost like a little bit funny. And yeah, it's very humanizing. They're all real people. Yeah.
What do you hope people take away from Wildcat?
But I hope people are entertained by it. And I think it's an interesting story about, you know, victimhood and trauma, and being able to take ownership of your trauma or your past and be able to use it in a positive way, and you know, not to kind of fall prey to victimhood, or thinking that you're lesser than you are.
Absolutely. Georgina, thank you so much for spending some time with me this Friday morning. I appreciate it. Congratulations on the film, and we hope to see you on the next one.
Great, thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you.
All right. Likewise.